Okay. So we're doing an interview here with Seamus from Tailored Chassis Solutions. Welcome to Ireland, Seamus. What do you think?
I've never been here before. What's up, guys? We just got here to Naas, Ireland, right up the road from Mondello Park. We're staying in the Osprey Hotel. It's pretty dope so far. We left Boston like 9:30 last night. I brought the kids with me. My wife Brittany and Sean is here, so we're just all super tired and the kids are going crazy. So I'm gonna keep this short. Basically, we're here for the LZ World Tour Ireland. We're going to meet up with the guys later on, do some fun car stuff, prep stuff prior to the event, and then we'll show you the event coverage and that sort of thing. I'm going to try to do it a little bit less formal here. We're just going to do sort of this is what we're seeing from our point of view, kind of like a vlog style thing, which we don't normally do, but we're going to do that, and hopefully it just gives you a cool insight. And for now, we're gonna sleep. So the next time you see us, we're gonna be rolling into either Mondello Park or maybe catching up with Jimmy and the boys and doing some car things in the shed.
So let those guys go first into the first corner of Mondello and see what happens.
Okay, good morning. We're at Mondello Park. Today is Friday, it's just a test day. Just gonna be seeing how the whole show works here. Everybody's putting down some practice laps. It is gonna be dry today and tomorrow, so hopefully we get to see some good stuff. Just gonna check out some cars and meet up with friends, and Sean will give you some B-roll. Okay, Colette, what do you got here? This is Colette. What are we working with here? We got, what is this, S15 sort of? S14?
S15.
It is a full S15, okay.
I wouldn't be the person that would really know, but I think it's a full S15. What I'm stoked about is this 2JZ S15, Wisefab Angel, quick change diff, and it has a sequential in it, but it's one that I've never driven before. It's no, I got in here yesterday and I was like, wait a minute, is this a test? Because there's 3 levers. So this sequential has an extra lever. It's reverse. So you have it in neutral, and then you pull that lever, and that's reverse, I guess. I haven't tried it yet, but I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, so this is Race Days, Drift Masters, Comp Car. It's the Drift Games S15, 2JZ. I think it's about like 750, 800 horsepower, and I'm really, really excited to drive it. I think at heart, I'm an S chassis girl. We'll find out. But I've drifted another S chassis when I was in Malaysia once, and I loved it. So I'm extra pumped to be driving it here for World Tour.
Yeah. I knew you were saying something about that in regards to getting rid of your Corvette. You're like, I've spent a lot of time in this car, I can never really get comfortable.
Yeah.
And then you go and you drive an S chassis one time and you're like, oh, now I understand.
I really liked S chassis from like my one weekend with one, so I'm excited to see if it was like a fluke or if I really like them. But I already bought the E46 Pro car, so like I'm gonna force myself to be an E-chassis girl, but I'm really excited to drive this. Also, I thought this was wrap this whole time because it's one of my favorite cars, and it's actually paint. So hell yeah. We got another person on the paint fade game. At least I guess I'm not anymore because I sold that car.
This car is very you. I can tell. You got it all worked out. Is this an original?
It is. I was about to
jack?
say I finally like busted out the Nismo.
Dang.
Gizmo neon jacket. Yeah, I'm excited. I feel bad though because Raise is actually here. He wasn't gonna come this weekend, but now he's here. I'm like, dude, you gotta drive your own car, but he wants to hang out and just chill for once. So, yeah, I'm excited.
All right, let's open it up and look at the dorky stuff. Together. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
It's drive-by-wire, so they used to have anti-lag on it, but I think they turned it off.
Okay.
But that'll be good for me because with the LS, I got so lazy that like I need more practice with a bigger, louder turbo setup to get my throttle foot trained.
Yeah.
Just my throttle foot, dude. I'm so lazy. So like being in this, even if it doesn't have anti-lag, it'll still be fine.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. The European cars are quite a bit different than how we build the cars in the U.S. I
Yeah.
would say we probably overdo it for what is required.
I think this was built in Japan.
Okay.
I think, because I think it was his car that he shipped over, and then now Drift Games is going to be running it. But I'm pretty sure it was built in Japan, and I feel like for Japan, this is pretty built.
Yeah.
Because there, they keep stuff simpler, like
Right.
cages are simpler. There's not
Front
as
radiator.
many front
yeah.
radiator. There's not as many like fabrication or fabricators is not as common in Japan. So to have something like this is like kind of crazy. But yeah, I think it's gonna stay in Europe though for maybe Drift Masters next year, and then just some events like this.
So this is his car, or this is a Drift Games rental that he rents from them?
It's his
or-
car.
I see.
But maybe Drift Games is gonna be running it like at other events now too. I'm not sure, but it is his car. He sent it over from Japan, and then Drift Games is running it for him and Drift Masters all year.
Okay.
And what I really love about it is that it's been through a season of Drift Masters, so it's already beat up in like every single corner, and it's been crashing every single corner, so it takes off a lot of pressure for me driving a brand new, fancy, pretty car. Because it's still pretty, but at least it's already been, used a little bit.
Yeah.
So I can be less timid.
You know it's been through hell. They're keeping the zip ties on deck. You don't even have to like go to the toolbox.
baby.
You're just
Yeah,
ready to
they're
go.
built in.
Right there.
There we
Just
go.
keep them in the special pocket. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I mean the old ones that are being used. So. Okay guys, we have Dave Egan here of Drift Games fame. If you don't know who he is, this is in collaboration your event
Yeah,
this
so this
weekend.
is Adam and I came up with this world tour maybe 2 years ago. So it's kind of grown into this monster now, but this is the first event that I'm actually driving myself out of the 5 we've done, so I'm pretty hyped on it.
Yeah, he's usually, you'll hear Dave behind the announcements and things like that, usually cracking jokes, keeping everybody laughing and smiling.
I'm trying to be serious this weekend. I got a very powerful car to not put in a wall.
Yeah, pretty serious cars. So we just got done talking to Colette about their S chassis cars, both borrowed. This is your actual car.
Yep.
Certainly is a good-looking car. The body kit very reminiscent of Ryan's Formula Supra HDK, right? Yep. So, do you want to give us just a quick rundown on what you got going on here? I know you're going out soon.
Yeah, so this is my new to me 2022 Toyota Supra drift car. It was built in Holland by a company called DBM Engineering. It was actually built as a showcase for their company. It was with no driver in mind. We obviously had an unfortunate fire. I lost my Pro Corvette. This was just ready to go, so we did a deal, and this is my 3rd time driving it this weekend. So she is all the bells and whistles. So full HDK wide body. I'll show you guys under the bonnet. So I'm not the most technical guy if you watch our content, but it's got basically a Drift Masters level car.
Okay.
So this is the full shell was resprayed in Millennium Jade. It is all the bells and whistles. You've got a full 3-liter. This is running 990 horsepower. Kind of like your Samsonite 6-speed sequential, your Winter Bulldog rear end, like all the kind of stuff you would put in a pro car. Nothing too crazy. There's some fun bits about the car that, like for example, the guys hated the way the window wiper mechanisms looked on a Supra standard. So that's actually the wiper from a John Deere tractor. Mirrors are from an Opel Corsa hatchback, but they kind of fit the car pretty well. And everything they did was for maintenance and reliability. So they've done really cool stuff, like even if you look inside the arch, there's like the oil overflow and catch cans. They've got taps and everything. All the clutch and gearbox is all on dry setup. So basically you can lock them off, take everything out. You can do a gearbox in like 10 minutes. Inside, all carbon. Basically everything you could possibly want in a drift car. This is almost too much car for me. It even has the first and ever set of HGK projector blanks. Weird stuff. I've obviously been testing the limits. There's no parking sensors on the drift car. My street A90 did have parking sensors, but I've just been struggling with the front and the back.
Yeah.
So we've had a little bit of fuel tank in the back, rad in the back. She runs on, interestingly, this is a James Dean trick. It runs 2 Opel Astra electric pumps on the front, which are a big mod here in Europe. It runs 2 of those just because it has so much angle. Full Wisefab front to back, BC Racing coilovers. And yeah, it's on a cable throttle, it was on a drive-by-wire. But a lot of the guys in Ireland will say go to the cable for less problems, but also, I'm not going to say it be a bit more manly. You're in control of the car a bit more. It's not doing things you don't want it to do or staying on revs when you don't want. We found we had the drive-by-wire, it was just lighting tires constantly. So this gives me a little bit more play with the throttle. Everything else, it's just a super clean build. They did it in 8 weeks from start to finish, their whole team. And since we've got it, we've had no issues. It's been running perfectly. The biggest issue with the car for me is the squishy bit driving it. That has to figure out how to handle quite a snappy chassis with a car. But I'm pretty happy this is my home track. It's my first time ever driving this track in this car. We're going to try and figure it out and see how we get on.
I love how the Millennium Jade goes against the Kevlar. I don't think I've seen that combo before, and it looks amazing. Like a Millennium Jade's one of my favorite colors anyway, but how it plays on the Kevlar is super cool.
A lot of people go silver, or they go black, but they decided to try and match it with a color that was iconic. It's a Nissan color on a Toyota, but now it's a real Supra, right? Because it has the 2 so they did a lot of tasteful modifications on this. Credit to them, and they basically wince every time I drive it now because they're like, we spent so much time making it pretty, and I'm gradually undoing it, but let's see how we get on.
Yeah, I like to see the Borg Warner in there as well, Jimmy. So, yeah.
We're going to try and come back to me in about 3 hours and see if it's in as good condition as it is now. So, we don't know. But it was great to meet you guys.
Cool.
I'm going to go do some laps. Hope you guys have a fun weekend here in Ireland.
Park in Naas, Ireland. Naas, whatever. What are you doing? We're talking about borrowed S chassis.
We're talking about borrowed S chassis. So Jimmy borrowed an S chassis as well. We just got done talking to Colette. Tell us what's going on. I'm seeing a drastically different level of prep between the 2 cars, so I'm just curious. All right. So what do we got here?
So this is a simple package, right? So S14 Koki with a really bulky cage in it, but it is a 1JZ non-VVTi. It's actually a standard long block, stock head studs, stock head bolts, with just some 264 cams in it.
Front radiator car.
Front radiator car. This thing makes like 600 horsepower. It's been making 600 horsepower for years, and Gary beats the ass off this thing. I don't know what turbo it is. Did he tell you? I think it's a G.
It's a G3770.
Perfect. It actually hits way harder than you would think. Samsonite sequential. It's got a quick change in it. It's got non-bolted down coil packs, but I mean, it's like, you'll see a lot of it, like, a lot of these builds here will like almost look like they're crude, but they're not crude. I don't even know how to explain it. Like,
It's almost like they don't spend a bunch of time making things unnecessarily fancy.
oh, for sure. They're like that's the part that works, and it's the cheapest, but it's not low quality. I'm buying it. Like
We're not building show cars, we're building stuff that works. It doesn't have to be the prettiest thing in the world as long as it wins.
But exactly, like you'll see a lot of that. They don't give a crap that they're using blue and red AN fittings. They just had that in the shed.
Right.
And then what's the difference? You know what I mean?
There's no points for style. I mean, there is, but not when it comes to car prep and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, Gary has a pink radiator hose in here. He probably found that in his shed.
Right. If your car finishes, then that's what you're judging.
I mean, the coolest car on track is the car that's winning.
Absolutely.
So like, I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. But I mean, this is cool. It's like outside. It's kind of like my style where it's Origin 75 mil overs all around with the Origin Raceline kit. So it's like very similar to like my cars where it's type 3 overs with a Raceline kit. But it's quick change, sequential. So it's like this weird spicy, like it's kind of dampened down, but it's not at the same time. It's this weird mid-range car. It's standard like S14 subframe with like GK Tech arms.
Is it GK Tech? I thought this car was Wisefab. Oh, it was Wisefab.
Brought it back to like he tried to sell it and then decided he didn't want to sell it until he just put standard stuff back in it. So it'll be good.
Now you've driven this car before.
Yeah, last year when it had Wisefab and stuff on it. So we'll see. I was fine in it last year. So.
And what are you're on?
Valinos in the front. They like a sticky front here. The Irish guys like fronts planted, and then the rear we're just running the Accelera, which isn't the grippiest thing in the world, but at least we're all on it. So we'll see. It's just a really fast entry into a tight corner, like into a cut corner, and so like. These tires are known to not have a lot of side bite, so I think everyone's a little nervous to see how it does because the difference between being on the inside of the zone and being into the wall is very small.
I'm interested to see, so in the driver's meeting they were talking about clip 2 or clip 3 being on the outside. Looking at that radius, I feel like you need a lot of forward.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be using the speed that you're gonna be using in order to actually make that radius exist or work, you're gonna need a ton of forward. So being that everybody's on a slower forward tire, potentially than the Westlakes or whatever they run.
Is it worth making toe in and more Darty is trying to? So the hard thing about that corner is, like I was saying before, there's such a fine line between being on the inside and being off the track. And so we've put cars with a lot of forward there, and it will drive itself away from that third zone, which is super important. So you need it to be a little wishy-washy, which is scary because you're hauling ass. But it can't. I don't know. It's a small window. It's a very small window, and you can't handbrake because if you handbrake, someone's gonna hit you. So
big emphasis on not pinching the chase, making sure that you're providing chaseable leads and that sort of thing. Otherwise, the other thing that looks funny to me is how small the decel zone is on that outside zone. So after clip 3, they expect you to make the transition on power, and then you have a super short decel zone where they're allowing you to use handbrake, but obviously there will be points plus if you don't. But it just seems like a super small zone to do that. So and I see a lot of guys go, especially if you don't have forward to dig yourself out, you're out in the stones.
Yeah, so like really the big thing is when you transition, the quickest you could slow down a car is at the least amount of angle. Right, so if the straighter the car is, I think personally I think it slows down the fastest. So what I like to do is, as I'm coming into that left transition, right before I get into angle, I'll hit all the brakes, and it'll like for like a split second, and it'll slow the car down so fast before it gets in the big angle that you can almost get right back on throttle, and they barely notice it.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see if all these cars end up looking as pretty as they do right now. So we're gonna try to find some other people to talk to about their stuff. And
Be good.
Thanks, dog.
For sure. Wish me luck.